Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk About It. We're ready, right, sis?
We are very ready. So let's talk about it. And I think we have a lot to talk about as usual, right?
Right. So we're going to get started, but we want to thank you for always tuning in, for your comments, your shares, your likes, your prayers. We really appreciate it. And we want to talk about those topics that are relevant for you. So please give us some topics that you want us to discuss. And so if you don't give us some topics, then we're going to search out what's trending, and that's what we're going to talk about. So we have a great room for you today, I believe. And we are going to get into it. Must I say good evening? So today our topic is no news is good news. No news is good news. And I know you've heard that phrase probably for years and years. If you are, I guess, middle-aged to older, because we used to always say that no news is good news. I haven't heard anything, so I'm good. But today is actually no news is good news day. And that's something that is celebrated now. So it must be relevant. But one of the things they talk about is that because you can get just overwhelmed with all of the news, because you have people telling you about it. You can't turn on the radio or TV unless you're hearing something. And that's 24/7, because now you got what? C-SPAN, MSCBN, CNN, among all the other news stations that you had. So if you're somebody you always have on the TV, or you always on social media or whatever, you are going to run into some news. And it's probably going to be negative news, because that's what news is negative, So that can be a downer, right, sis?
Definitely a downer. And just like you say, we have so many streams of be able to get news all the time. Listen, if CNN and MSBN and Fox and all those not working, now people are doing their own podcasts with news. So news is just everywhere. And sis, uh, like you said, it means, when I looked at this, it said it means sometimes it means a lack of information, which we know it ain't a lack of news on all these different podcasts. But also, it could mean, the phrase can also mean a situation that indicates nothing is happening. And so, and sometimes we say that, like, if you're waiting on, think about it, we're waiting on the doctor's report, or we're waiting on some information, or waiting on that job and waiting on them to call us back. So sometimes we kind of give ourselves a little bit of assurance in the waiting time and just say, oh, well, no news is good news. But we're going to talk about the news that infiltrate us all day, inundate us all day long. So let's
Yeah.
talk about that, the purpose of today. So, and like you said, it's amazing. I never thought about it was a day designated and called a no news day. Can I back up a little bit since we're
Sure.
talking about news? Today is the anniversary of 9/11.
Mhm.
So, I don't know. I haven't heard too much about it because we got so much other negative news going on. But, we just still want to honor and celebrate those people who lost their lives. And so that kind of news, it's kind of, it's a negative, it's a hurtful thing for those people that lost their lives. But I think it's a day that we need to not forget and commemorate those that were involved in that tragedy and that attack on America's soil at that time. But let's get back to the purpose of the day. So it's national. It's a national no news is good news day. It simply encourages us to pursue from the constant stream of information. That's what I mean by sometimes it can be a lack of information that we need to pull ourselves away from. So, constantly, all day long, we can look at the news. We can find it on our phones. We can find it on our watches now. We can find it. Used to be all we had was a little radio or something and about 3 or 4 channels. And now we've got, one of my friends said, if you got, our was is I can't think of it, but anyway, our provider, AT&T has a provider that does stuff like that. But he said, how many, if you watching TV, who can watch 205 channels a day? I didn't think about that because, the cable, we got the cable and all like that. But
Mhm.
just think about it. Who, but we pay for that. We
Yeah.
pay to watch and have to have access to all of these different media forms and different things. But we can't watch but one channel at a time. But anyway, 24-hour news cycle, all day, all night. News, 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 and more news. It's always there just to keep our attention. But oftentimes, all of that, all of that news, all of that overabundance of information, and like you said, so negative, nothing, positive. You got to dig deep to get the positive. But just think about this, how it affects our peace, because all of the negativity that goes into it, you might wake up not even upset, but by the time you get through looking at you so nervous and upset. And then I remember when I was driving to work, you had a channel on trying to listen to the traffic, but then some gonna pop up on the news. But anyway, it can just really rob us of our peace. And so, let's, like I said, let's be clear, most of it is negative. It's not a lot of positive going on. And then really sometimes we just need to learn how to just ignore some of the news that's going on. And it doesn't mean that we're ignoring the information. Like today, this is the National No News Day, but it's also, we're not ignoring 9/11 and what happened then, but we have to create a balance of this. You got to listen to some news, and we need to stay informed. I totally agree. But I think you have to pick and choose the kind of news that you're listening to. And then when it gets to be too negative, I just believe you need to cut it off. You need to disconnect. Because listen, out of those 205 channels, who's responsible for what I listen to other than myself?
Yes, you.
Only me. So, the Bible reminds us that we have to guard our hearts. And so guarding our hearts means we got to guard the space, our mental space, our mental capacity, what I allow to get in my head. And what, once it's in my head, you got to work hard sometimes as far as getting it out, and sometimes even changing the negative so you can see something positive, so you can see what it is that you really need to do. Or like we're saying, sometimes it may be good to just unplug, disconnect, pick and choose. If you're going to look at the 5:30 news, look at the 5:30 news. Don't just keep looking at 6:30. But this is what I noticed, and I'm going to let you talk. I noticed that they repeat the same thing over and over and over and over. And I was like, but we just said this. Y'all just said this. So now you getting the same news negative, over and over and over again. So no wonder we don't have no peace. No wonder we have heart problems sometimes. No wonder we're getting frustrated and have anxiety and all those kind of things. It's because what are we allowing to enter into our space? What are we not balancing with the news? What is it that we are constantly hearing? A stream of information, but we need to step back and just decide, what do I really need to listen to? And how much of this am I going to allow to continue to, to get in my space, in my spirit, in my head, in my heart, whichever one. We have to take that responsibility and begin to see how we can see what's robbing my peace, what's taking. We're going to talk about that, take away my time, and some things that I could do to prevent or even, I think that could be a part of self-care as well.
All right.
So what do you think?
It is a lot, and you have to think about it. What's really going on for them to make this a national holiday? But again, it is so impactful, and it's like I can think about even not what they're talking about on TV, but if you think about it, it's like if you got a situation, like say you're in a club or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're just fine with everything that's going on because you're just a member. You come, you pay your dues, you participate, but you don't get into little cliques or whatever. But then somebody starts telling you, well, that one right there used to be in jail, and then they got him for the treasurer, and da 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 da. So what you don't know sometimes helps you to cope better, because when you were finding the organization, you were getting, what you needed, the purpose that you were in there for. But now you're getting this negative feedback, and it's like, oh, do I really want to be here?
Oh, I know. Absolutely. I didn't even think about that kind of that. Hey, that's real local news, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really local news. Yeah.
Yeah, so the whole thing with that is a bunch of overload. And so I'm going to talk about the impact of news overload. It is too much. And like Carol was saying, they have the 5:30 news and the 6 o'clock news and the 6:30 news, and some stations at 7, and you got those stations that's all they do 24/7. Now we got the satellite radio, so you can hear it in the car. Mm-hmm. So it is just a lot. So you got all these headlines. Hey, what about the alerts? Now we getting the amber alerts, the silver alerts. And then you're thinking, oh my goodness, somebody's mom or dad is missing. They can't find them. They may have dementia. They got in a car. So then you thinking about them. So it is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And, you think about it, that sometimes keeps people from sleeping.
Oh, yeah.
Concentrating on what they need to be doing. Because, of course, here I am in my office where I spend probably 9-10 hours a day in here, and I got TV right there. So, if I turn it on, now I'm looking at stuff like Beyond the Gates and divorce court. With divorce court, that's
Yeah.
bad enough. But you get these little news excerpts through there. And then
Mhm.
I missed my stuff yesterday because I was just so busy. So today I'm trying to catch up. And then I'm hearing about the shooting yesterday, which I didn't even have any idea who this man was because I don't keep up with that stuff. But
Mhm.
here we go. So now I gotta try to listen to who he was, why people didn't like him, why the school shouldn't let him on the grounds, why they should have had beefed up security, why they should have listened to students and not let him come. I'm like, oh my goodness, I had to hear this all day. That's
Mhm.
overload to me. That's
Mhm.
overload. I know about it. If I want to get further news about it, then I can go on CNN. I can buy a newspaper, and of course, I can Google it.
Of course, I forgot about Google.
So why do I have to be overwhelmed with that?
Yeah.
And I'm somebody that when I hear something like that, I keep like, even though maybe he was not on the same page that I was, even though I didn't even know who this man was.
Yeah.
That's no reason for someone to kill him. It's freedom
No.
of speech, you don't have to follow him.
Mhm.
So then I feel bad for him, and now I'm wondering if he had a family. Because, like I said, I didn't know who the man was. Did he have a
Yeah.
family? Did he
Yeah.
have small kids? Because they say
Right.
he's young. So it can be overloading, even if it's somebody that you don't know.
Right. Right.
So,
Right.
right,
And
Agnes?
and even like you said, even if we, I kind of had Googled that a little bit, but here's the other thing. Even that shooting is going on, which it, killings are just killings regardless. But also today, well, yesterday, the same day yesterday, it was another school shooting going on. That wasn't even, wasn't even addressed.
Yeah, I didn't
But
even hear about
that's
that.
what I'm saying. I just kind of was looking through this today and I was like, oh my God. Yeah, like I said, I didn't know the young man either. But then we hear all of that. And like you said, what do we do? Oh Lord, does he have children? Oh Lord, and not to mention that think about the fear that the children at school, in college, school shooting, all that kind of stuff. Now we've got to absorb that as well. And if you have any kind of human heart, that should affect you, and that you should have some kind of empathy or compassion for the families that's going through that kind of thing. But yeah, information overload, and it just drives us to a place where we just have to get to the place where enough is enough. And like you were saying, do I need to go back and read everything about him? And well, my thing is they're going to change anything? The tragedies happen. And then on top of that, they said they hadn't found the shooter. Now we all got to be scared because the shooters out there at large, so much. Sometime no news is good news for real, because we don't have to know all of that. And like you said, we can get to where it is information overload. But we have to keep moving, right? Keep
Right.
praying.
And I just thought about this. This is
Uh,
funny, and it's kind of not about this, but it kind of is. But
uh,
talking about no news is good news.
mhm,
And so yesterday, I had this lady to come over to my house to pick up something. So
mhm,
as she and her daughter were leaving, they were like, "There's a snake! There's a snake!" And I was like, "Snake where?" And I have these little short hedges by not too far from my door. So they's like, "There it is, right there." So luckily, my husband was home, and I was like, "Dad, it says snake out there." And so I saw him trying to kill a snake, and it looked like it was about this thick, but it was just wiggling away from him, whatever. So after he kills the snake, then he says, "Oh, it was oh shoot, what did he say? It was a black something."
mhm, mhm.
And
A
anyway,
harmless snake.
Yeah, well, I didn't know at the time, but my grandson
Yes.
has this thing about snakes because they bring them
Yeah.
to school and they let him touch them and all this. So I said, wait a minute before you get rid of them. I got to get a video for Grayson. So I take a picture, do a little video, sent it to his mom yesterday. And I said, make sure. So I asked her when they FaceTime me, I said, did you show that to Grayson? She said, not yet. So
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
right before we started, I get this FaceTime from them. And so then Grayson is sitting there, and he's like, and she said, he said, but and his mom said, well, tell her, ask her. But she said, you ask her. He said, Mom, why did my granddaddy kill that? Oh, what kind of snake is it? A black something? He says, because he's a friendly snake. Why did he do
Oh,
that? And I'm like, oh, we didn't know, Grayson. I said, I am so sorry. And next time he see one like that, I'll tell him to get it and take it in the backyard. I am so sorry, Grayson. I didn't know.
mhm.
And his mom said, your nana was scared.
Real scared.
Right, but see, here I don't want to show off because he likes snakes, but then that upset him because
You done
he
killed
knows
the
it's a
snake.
friendly snake.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow. No news is good news.
No, no. Yeah, that news might have not have should have been shared, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. We really have to just kind of think about that. But like you say, you didn't know, you just trying to get something for what he needed to have done to show off. And now he's thinking, you done killed this poor helpless snake.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, anyway, talking about no news is good news. I want to talk about, and I kind of talked about that a little bit, but why it is so important for us to just take a break from the matters. Sometimes, like I said, we just have to step back and allow your mind and emotions to just reset.
Mhm.
You just have to you really do. You take, like I say in the beginning, take a step back, take a moment back and just reset your mind. So your mind and your emotion, because just like you saying, your emotion was, was there's a snake and you all in your emotions and stuff like that. But still, it affects you. And then, and so emotions are there, and sometimes they can be temporary or whatever. But we have to just remember the importance of just step back, reset your mind, reset your thought process, reset your emotions, because you just need a break. And resetting probably means reset. Don't you know what I do to reset, Deborah? Sometimes I'm a Hallmark Christmas movie junkie. I'm gonna just tell you. I mean, but it helps me reset and rethink, because I know at the end of the day, it's going to be a happy ending. It might be a little bit of some stuff in the middle, but it's going to end all right. And it's going to be a happy Christmas for them all.
All right.
So that I find that that's my way of escape. Sometimes if I'm going to cut the news off, I'm going to find me and look, some of them I've seen 5 or 6 times, but I don't care. It helps me. Because if you think about it, we need to take a break from the matter, because it affects our mental health. It
Right.
calls that in. Just like you may not think you have some anxiety, some anxiety going on with it, but it can be a low level of anxiety that you're going through, and it just helps us when we think about it to refocus and clear our focus. And here's the other thing. It can help you get in a better mood, because you listen to all this stuff that's going on. And a friend, I was talking to him the other day, and he was like, I had to apologize to my son. He said, because I was just in the moment and I done snapped at him. I said, yeah, probably listening at something on that TV or something like that. But think about it. We got all this going on, and then what should be a civil answer or whatever, we all full of anxiety. We all full of, a mood, or we're in a mood, or we're in all these feelings and stuff like that. Our emotions going bad, our mind going bad, and it can cause us to have a bad, it can cause us to be in a bad mood. But if you take a break, it will help you be in a better mood. It will help you clear your focus. It will help you with that anxiety, kind of push that in. I'm telling you, when I look at them Hallmark movies, I'm telling you, I'm just like, I just need me some tea. That's all. But anyway, we have to break away from the news and give ourselves time to focus on grow. Because now we're all caught up in that. How are we focusing on how we are personally growing?
All
What are
right.
we doing and what are we reading that's going to help me personally, help me with my family, or help me with my community? What am I doing? All of that is going on. And the immediate things around me, I'm not paying attention to that. And so now, I'm not mentally growing, I'm not spiritually growing, and I'm just sitting here, like I say, in a stupor. And you are there because we've allowed news and different types of news to come in and cause us to be in that place. But yeah, and then we have to create a room. We have to create a room where sometimes we need to refocus and take a break from the matter, because everybody, we keep listening at how the economy is all messed up and how much chicken has gone up and how much sugar is gone. Oh my God. It's bad enough when you got to go to the grocery store and see the prices increase, but we got to hear it all the time, how this is going up. But we need to take a break and step back and say, today, Lord, if I just got a piece of light bread and some cheese on this table, you provide it's a way for me to eat.
All right.
Or when I go to the grocery store, thank you, Lord, that I know the prices have gone up, but I'm still able
That's
to
right.
purchase what I need in my family. Why can't I take a break and just say, Lord, I'm thankful for that, and reflect on something positive that's happening in our life? Take time and celebrate something, or celebrate someone else, or celebrate your grandkids, your children, but other people. Just find ways that you can celebrate others, as well as find some ways that if you pull yourself away from some of this, you need to give yourself a hand and celebrate yourself. But we just need to sit back sometime and be thankful, because a lot of times when we're looking at all this news, it will put you in a place. Wait a minute. It will put you in a place where if you got $1, you just holding it like this because I'm scared. I'm not going to have enough. But God is our provider. But then last, we just like our bodies. Our bodies have to need, have to take time and rest. And I always say, sometimes he makes us lie down in green pastures, because sometimes we don't have enough sense to lie down in the green pasture and get some rest.
Amen.
So he lets me lie down a little bit so I can get some rest, because rest is so important. It helps refuel us, regenerate us, and we need the rest. But if our bodies need that rest, our minds need that rest as well. And so, and the Bible tells us to meditate on things. Sometimes you have to learn how to meditate, because we're just all over the place and our mind is all over the place. So we just need to learn how to take a break. Trust me, like you say, you can go back 6 days later and find out what's going on today. So just take time and take a break. And if you don't do anything, just look up and thank God for a new day, a new opportunity, a new way that maybe he's giving you some new insights, a different perspective on some things that you saw yesterday. And my last thing I'm going to say, take time and breathe, because we really need to learn how to breathe in the process of all the things that's going on. So just breathe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's good. That's good. Well, as we continue on, and if you just join us, today is National No News is Good News Day, and we're talking about, if you have to really think about that thing, it's true. Sometimes no news is good news, because
Yes.
what type of place does the news put you into? What kind of mood or whatever? So we are going over some things that should give you food for thought, and then also to help you to get away from it. Breathe, as Carol said.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay, and the next one I'm going to talk about, which I don't see, is healthy ways to stay informed.
Mm-hmm.
Healthy ways to stay informed. And so it was really, I had to keep, when I was researching, I had to keep looking like, huh, check in, what? But
Uh-huh.
I understand they're saying schedule your news check-in. So like earlier
Oh.
I was saying, the same news come on every 30 minutes starting 5
Mhm.
o'clock.
Yeah.
Go look at all of that because you're hearing the same thing. And you know what we talk about habits. When you say the same thing every day, what happens? Or you do the same thing every day, it becomes a habit.
It becomes
So
a habit.
you're listening to that same news, and so it's getting into your spirit, it's making you feel some type way. So choose, when is it that I want to see what's going on? Do I even want to look at a news
Mhm.
broadcast? And if I do, what 30-minute segment am I going to watch? And that's the one I'm going to watch. That's my check in. My check in
Mhm.
is 6 o'clock. That's it. Not
Mhm.
mine, because I can do it at 6. Pick a time.
Mhm.
Or if you're gonna go to CNN, if you gonna go to what is MS?
What, yeah.
Yeah, that one right there.
MNBC, I believe. Yeah.
Go to that one. But whatever, choose one, and choose something that you know is reliable. Because sometimes you hear
Mhm.
stuff. It's just like people before a lot of more useful technology came on. We had Wikipedia, and everybody was going to
Mhm.
Wikipedia, and they had to, they were saying don't use it, and I'm like, well, why don't they want you to use it?
Mhm.
Well, the reason why is because I can add something on Wikipedia. My 5-year-old, that if they can type, they can add something to Wikipedia. So it's what everybody is putting in there based on what their thoughts are or what they think they know. So that's not even reliable. So you want to make sure that if you got to get some news, that it's something that's reliable. Because I
Right.
this man on the news today, I was trying to watch my soap opera, but it was a video from yesterday, and the guy says, "Well, now his own team took him to the hospital, so I would say that's good news."
Mhm.
Why would you say that? You don't know that was probably the fastest way
Mhm.
that to make it, good. And well, they haven't said anything about his status, so that's good. Well, no, they don't want
Mm-mm.
to say something about the status on the news because they would need to notify family first. Use
Right.
your common sense.
It still works, huh?
Yeah. So so everything that you're hearing, you're taking that, and if you're emotional, you're running with it, and it could be the wrong news.
Mhm.
Well, so suppose somebody was listening to that and they went and carried the wrong news to his family or something like that. You have to be very, very careful because, again, with news, social media, and all of that, it's what people are putting into it. So it could be right, but it may not be right.
Right.
And there's
Mhm.
a time and place for everything. So is it a good time for you to even hear whatever it is? So get into the practice. Yes. Okay. So I do need to know what's going on in the world. So I'm going to select this 30 minutes and I'm going to find out. But for every chunk of negative news I get, I'm going to find something that's positive. If I want to
Right.
go and get a positive quote, or if I want to go on a station that's inspirational or religious and get something positive, you got to be careful with that too. But if you know it's something where you can go and get something that's positive,
Mhm.
it's gonna take that time to breathe, think
Mhm.
about the goodness that we have. You can, take that time, like Agnes said, well, thank you, Lord. It's something
Yes.
to make
Mhm.
you be thankful and grateful for what we do have, because like if you listen to it, because I don't do a lot of grocery shopping, but when my husband finished talking about them eggs every other day, it make me not want to eat eggs anymore. So you have to be
I can't
careful.
afford an egg right now.
Like, see, I did want an egg sandwich, but I don't think I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna save those eggs for when I need to bake. So it's important that I know I'm laughing, but you think about some of this stuff. It'll really get you thinking some kind of way. So let's be mindful of what we're putting in, right? And so that's the whole thing about it. What are you putting in your spirit when
That's
you're
right.
listening to all this news?
Mhm. Because like you
Yeah.
say, what you put in, that's what's going to come out. So if you're putting in negativity, that's what's going to come out is the negative stuff. But you know what, Deborah? We the news is there to and get, and this is what's so amazing. Negative news sell. It
Yes.
sells. But what about uh celebrating good news? You know, and so good news doesn't always make the headlines. Our kids sometimes can be doing so well, and different schools are doing so well, but we don't hear about that. We hear about all the other stuff that's not going well, or one child goes to this school and all of a sudden the whole school just been they done talked about the whole school when it's just been one person. But when do we stop and celebrate the good news? And
Right.
so I want to brag a little bit of good news today, because today in my community, I live in Mesquite, Texas, and today in my community on October the 10th will be a day that we celebrate, that people go out and do this. But today is the 20th annual celebration of what we call Mesquite Day. And what Mesquite Awareness Day, I think Addressing Mesquite Day. What they do is they get volunteers who go out on October the 10th. People have to sign up for it, but it's to go out and help our community and to beautify our community and help people who are elderly that cannot repair their homes anymore. The disabled veterans, they go out and do stuff like that. So they're out, I think Pastor Carter was on one time, but they're out, hammering and pulling weeds, and just doing all these things that are free for the community to look better. But now that's not that haven't been a big deal in the news. But you let some shooting happen on some street over here in Mesquite, we're gonna get a lot.
Right.
We're gonna hear that forever. But anyway, I wanted to just share that because sometimes we have to look for ways that we can have that kind of kindness or personal wins. You need to look for stories of recovery and just simple acts of generosity. And that's exactly what where the Addressing the Mesquite is, just an opportunity for people to come together and show generosity to those who are not able to go out. They showed a video of this lady who had gone out to help a family, and the husband had dementia, and he had been sick, and couldn't. And so she was just saying, the person who was receiving the help was talking about she want to apologize the way our house looked. So the lady that was going to take the application, so she just started crying. She said, "You don't really need to apologize to me. We all here, we can be up today and down tomorrow." And so that's no reason that she needed to apologize, but just the compassion that the lady showed then. But I want to invite our audience to type in, because sometimes, like we say, this is Good News Week. Let them type in some opportunities that they can share some good news to our audience, and things that they might have experienced, or act of kindness, or those kind of things. So, because we need to remind people that what we focus on, that's what's going to grow. Whatever
Mhm.
you put your attention on, that is what's going to begin to grow. You put your attention on violence and hatred and envy and strife, hey Deborah, and gossiping.
Mhm.
That is what's going to begin to grow. So we want to make sure that we're taking notice and being able to see the good things that can begin to grow in us. And I always say good will attract good, just like negative attract negative. But we want to make sure that we're having an opportunity to put some things in, or just take a minute and just remind yourself of what of some good things. And I always think about, and you do this all the time, sometimes we need to write some stuff down. We need to journal some stuff. Lord, thank you for this day. Here's something good that happened. So even if you don't put it in our chat, just take time and write some good. some good news in your journal, or on, like, sometime I have a piece of paper and then I can't find it when I need it, but I done wrote something down. But you need to remind yourself that, God is still good regardless of what is going on. And if we can just begin to track the goodness of the Lord, and just remember, he is the one that give us the joy that we have. They said, this joy that I have, the world cannot give it to me. And since they can't give it to me, we shouldn't allow the world to take it away from us. So let's look for some good. If we look for the negative, is easy to find, but the good, we need to be able to ask the Lord to open up our eyes so that we can see the goodness. There's good that's going on, and we can focus on that, and we can begin to let that good we be attracted to the good, but we want to make sure that we are noticing the good and that we are growing from the good that we see.
All right. Awesome. So I am going to close us out by talking about call to action. But before I say that, because of the statement Carol was saying, about putting comments in about, things that are good or whatever, as she was saying that, I was thinking, a lot of young men, of course, that's my niche, young men. But, if you have an athlete or somebody that a DJ or something that people know, and something negative happens, everybody knows about it. Even I don't know the DJs. I only know my grandson.
Mm-hmm.
DJ blah blah blah, this happened, da, 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 and it just spreads and spreads and spreads. But how about let's start, because they have it on the news, where this athlete decided he was going to take this child, this group of kids, 5 or 10 kids, school shopping or something like that. That didn't get spread. Why?
Because it's good news.
You see that one time, saw it on the news, don't see it on social media anywhere. What we need to start spreading. So,
right.
It only takes one person to start and make a change. So everybody that's associated with Build Your Best Life, let's start doing stuff like that. When we see young men doing something that's positive or good, let's spread it. Let's share it.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Good things.
Yeah. So our call to action today, I'm going to challenge each and every one of you, even if it's just 3 hours, to go news free. Can you do it? 3 hours. I'm not going to listen to radio stations, news. If somebody called me, hey, if our friend sent us a post that we don't want, because I don't look at it anyway, we're going to delete it. We're not going to listen to any news for 3 hours. Can you do it? Can you fast from
the news, huh?
It's going to help you. You'll see how you feel afterwards. If it doesn't make any difference, then hey, at least you tried it. But see if it makes you feel better. Hey, you know what? I wasn't thinking about the negative stuff. I got so much done in those 3 hours. I wasn't worrying about, I'm glad that wasn't my child. I'm glad that wasn't my grandchild. Well, I wonder how they doing. Oh, was it? Wonder if they need anything. Maybe if I pray, stop and pray. Whatever. But what could you do and be doing positive in those 3 hours? It's a call to action.
Call to action.
Replace that news time. Call a friend, someone you haven't talked to in a year or 2 years. Hey, thinking about you. If you don't want to call them, text them, send them all. You got all these beautiful quotes and little graphics that you can send them. Have a happy Monday. Be blessed. Thinking about you. Send them something. There's a hobby you like to do. Do it. Because if I'm here by myself and I was like, you know what, Deborah, you need to take a break. I don't go and turn the TV on. I go in there and get my crossword puzzle. And I do about 4 or 5 crossword puzzles. And that's what helps me to breathe. Do what you like to do, what calms you down, what satisfies you. And that negative news, I'm pretty sure that don't satisfy you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, it's protect your peace.
Got to.
That's not being selfish. That's essential. We always talk about we can take care of everybody. We're going to make sure this one's okay. We're going to make sure that one's okay. So now I know if we do kill a snake, I'm not going to tell my grandson. So, I'm going to keep him okay. So I'm going to take care of him, but I need to take care of Deborah too, because I know if I see one out there, Dan, you better get it.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to do what's best for you. And that's staying away from that negative news. You
Got
need to do it. And it's so funny. And I know y'all probably want to go, but I don't know how many look at this new soap opera, Beyond the Gates. But it was just so amazing to me because I don't follow anybody like say the social media influencers.
Mm-hmm.
But this lady had been following this girl secretly for like 3 years, and she was just infatuated with her until she figured out a way that she could get to know her, but still not letting on, her true feelings. Then she kidnaps the poor lady. I'm like, people do stuff like that in real life. It's crazy.
Looking at that news and that TV.
Yep.
Wow.
So we hope that, this was something that made you say, never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
That is something to think about because that's what Let's Talk About It is about. It's for things that are important, essential, that people sometimes don't think about or you don't want to have a conversation about. We're going to bring it up. So we love it, love it, love it when you interact, give us comments. And again, if there's a situation or something that's trending, something that's going on, and you want us to talk about it, we're here every Thursday. We would be glad to talk about what you want to hear about.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have any closing thoughts, sis?
Well, I just thought about Isaiah 26:3. And it reminds us, you keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you. So my closing thought is that, there's so many ways that we can begin to look at ways that we could, like you say, call us to action. What are we going to replace the negative news or the news itself? What are we going to replace it with? And you've given us some suggestions, but we have to just, like you say, take 3 hours a day, take 30 minutes if that'll help you. And then just see how you can feel and how how you will respond and react. But I love how you challenged us to, hey, take 10 minutes and send somebody a positive quote or a scripture or something, because not only are you going to be pouring into them, but just stop and think. You had to think about that scripture, think about that particular quote that meant something to you because you stopped and looked at it or you thought about it and send it to them. So it's going to help you. It's kind of twofold. It'll help you and help somebody else. So no, we just have to take back our authority on that news and how much we allow. Carve out what you want. Like you say, you do puzzle, I'm going to go get me a good Hallmark movie, and that's going to calm me down. But it makes me breathe. It makes me move away from all the negativity and all of the things that's going on in which is in our world. But we don't have to become and let it become a part. We don't have to become a part of the world. We live in it, but we don't have to let the world be living inside of us. So that's my thought.
Great thoughts, sis. Great thoughts. So thank you all for tuning in today. Excuse me. Of course, Saturday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is Conversation with the Guys. How to communicate with confidence and respect. So check them out Saturday. And then on Tuesday, Blueprint for Success, we have Shannon Davis Wills And she was one of the young ladies that spoke during the educational symposium. She's going to be back on Tuesday. She was amazing. And our
Mhm.
topic is going to be hope within.
Oh, wow. That's
Hope,
going to be great.
yes. So please join us Saturday and Tuesday if you can. If not, please go back to the rewind. Remember, they're always out there for you to go back and look at when you can during your quiet time. See, that's something else you can do instead of looking at the news. Live your best life.
In your quiet time. Exactly.
It will give you some good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolute. Some fruitful stuff, right?
Yes. All right. So thank you all for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day. Remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan, it's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed. Stay safe. And I will see you when I see you.
All right.
All right.
See you, sis.